Okay, any other discussion on this resolution? I think it might be easier just to do the standing.
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, well,
count you, then you sit down, okay? Get your shoes off. I'm looking around here.
You got 2/3 line.
Sit down and then say anybody against stand. That's only really close.
so any against?
Any against?
Any abstained? Okay. Resolution 2012-02. These are in your packages, by the way, in the annual reports, so you can follow along. The issue, background upon reviewing the bylaws under Article 3, Membership 3.02, Membership Dues and Fees, Council has agreed that this article requires added wording in order for the everyday governing of the college. The reasons are as follows. Whereas the college is committed to good governance, whereas the college requires additional wording in the bylaw for day-to-day administration. Special resolution is an amendment to the bylaw and requires a vote in 2/3 majority. The council proposes to include prorated payment schedule to accommodate new members applying after the permit year. Where the existing wording of the Article 3 Membership 3.02 Membership Dues and Fees reads as follows. And then we have the list of the membership dues and fees. And if I can just scroll down to what the actual this table for the regulated member prorated dues schedule. And we have a list of application dates there, so, and the percent of the application fee that is due, depending on when the application is put in. So from January 1st to June 30th, anytime in that period, the applicant is going to pay 100% of the application fee. July 1st to September 30th is 50% of the application fee. October 1st to December 31st, the application fee, you pay the application fee. Or sorry, those are, it's prorated for the dues, the membership dues. So once you get beyond October 1st, then it's just the application fee that applies. You won't pay the dues for October, November, December.
I move to accept motion number 2.
Okay. So motion, Don Pope. Not a seconder.
I'll second. Kathleen Dirksen.
Kathleen Dirksen, second. And any discussion? Okay, there's no discussion. So we'll go towards the vote then. All in favor, please stand. Okay, that's it. Any against? Any abstained? One abstained. Okay, motion is passed. Resolution 2000. Member, and our current wording says the associate member must be a forest technician graduate from a recognized training school or vocational college consisting of a one-year training program. Be it resolved that the college adopt the following definition of associate member, where with the above issued background information, the wording of Article 3, membership 3.01.01.a, associate member will read as follows. A, associate member must be a graduate from a natural resources or environmental sciences program at a recognized training school or vocational college consisting of a 1 or more years training program and commit to meet the requirements outlined in the core competency checklist. So I'd like to call
Name, please.
Christine Curtis Woods.
Christine. And can I call for a seconder? Okay, I'd like to open it for discussion. Any of the council members want to speak to this one?
I can speak to Mike. So the reason we're looking at doing this is we've been getting a lot of applications from people that have been graduating from natural resource sector school or natural resource schools, and they're being employed in the forestry and so that's why we've adjusted it for that. We've also put in the thing that they have to meet the core competency checklist, so they cannot stay on this associate member forever and ever. They got to work towards becoming a regulated member. And so we're going to work on the process of that over the next year with Andy's group and Chanel and that kind of stuff to put together the policies and the procedures that we have to go through and the length and that kind of stuff. So what it's going to mean is bring some non-classically trained or non-classically forestry trained individuals into our college, but they're doing the jobs of forest officer and out there doing regen surveys and those sort of things and that. Okay?
Is there any other discussion on this resolution? Okay, I'd like to take it to a vote. If all in favor, please stand. Any against? Abstained? One abstained? Motion's passed. Resolution 2012-04. It's regarding membership dues and fees. The council proposes to adjust the annual regulated membership dues to reflect inflation and increased operational costs that have occurred since the last dues increase in 2006. Where the existing wording of Article 3, Membership 3.02, Membership Dues and Fees reads as follows. And then we have our current membership dues and fees. And what the resolution change is highlighted in yellow up on the screen as well as in your books, is that we wanted to raise the regulated member fee from $335 to $350. So a slight increase on the annual membership fees. So if I can have a motion from the floor for putting forward resolution 2012-04. And is there a seconder? Okay, then it's open for discussion.
Can I ask what triggers this request for an increase in dues, given that we have a balanced budget forecast for 2012? And we had balanced budgets. In fact, we've had positive, favorable budgets for the last couple of years.
Name, please.
Oh, Dave Comet, Trans-Canada.
Okay, Derek?
I'm the finance guy.
Just seemed odd to see it in the current economic
It's being proactive and reactive, right? And that's, I guess that's, pardon me?
The mic
Is the mic not on? Any better? The idea is being proactive versus reactive. And the dynamics are changing, and what we're seeing here is we're paying because of volunteers. There's less volunteers up there, and we're just forecasting, and that's the primary reason. And as executive and council, we decided that the best thing at this point is to be proactive. And I mean, we did. The reason why the surplus last year was for understaffing or whatever, but I think this is just going to help them all over the board. That's. Do you want to add anything?
Yeah, I'll just add a quick point. To Dave's point that we've had, balanced budgets or budgets that we weren't running deficits on, and back to Derek's point, is actually this year with what we've had to put in for having people review new applications and some of the other new stuff that's coming in. If we wouldn't have had a surplus last year and carried over the surplus to this year, we would have had a $13,000 deficit. So realistically, we do have need for this money, unless we're going to have more volunteers. And it seems that those are getting harder and harder to come by. So that's the life of it. Either more volunteers, or we're going to have to look at finding other ways to get money so that we can continue our day-to-day business.
When was the last time we had an increase in the fees?
Can you guys go to the microphone, please? So everyone can hear.
So, sorry, what's your name? Ed. Ed asked when was the last time we had an increase in dues, and 2006. 2006. So if you even look at inflationary sort of steps, how much it's went up since then, and that kind of stuff. We've had, new staff coming in and that kind of stuff. We have to give them increases. It's just, like Derek said, it's being a little bit more proactive, because we can see next year us actually running a deficit. Or not next year, but proposing a deficit for 2013.
Just one other point, if I can add lib there, is we've had increasing membership over the past years. And this year we don't. And that increased membership has taken care of our incremental increases in our budgets. And we're on the course now of not having that increased membership, so something has to balance that out. Is there any other discussion? No other discussion? Okay, I'm going to take it to a vote. So everybody in favor, if you could please stand. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Any against? Any abstained? One abstained? Okay, motion's passed. To have Pat Gallup come up now as the incoming president and say a few words to you. And I think Pat has definitely been putting a lot into this college. been a huge contributor over the years, both on the competency committee and now taken up vice presidency and presidency of the college. Totally committed to our organization and definitely a wealth of knowledge. Whenever we needed to know something about bylaws or policies, he was kind of our go-to person. So I'll turn it over to you now, Pat.
So the few presentations we had today kind of adjusted what I was going to talk about up here. I've kind of rewritten this little talk about 4 times today, and it's about 6 pages long, so I'm going to really kind of fly through this. I guess, you know, Kevin was talking about trust the process, and I totally think that's true. I must say I'm a little bit disappointed. Our process let us down today. We're leaving here without a vice president for the first time. That's kind of a shock. I think all of us really have to look and, you know, look inside and, you know, I guess we need to find somebody to step it up. So we'll be sending out emails to people, and I guess please talk to any of the other people that you know of the college and see if there's anybody interested out there. So it is a big time commitment. I understand that. I just went through it, and it'll have to be a little bit scary. We're also coming into some waters of uncertainty and that kind of stuff, and I can understand that being very scary, but we definitely need somebody to step out as a vice president. So along that note, I was going to talk about challenges that the college faces over the next year as I see them, and what we're going to try and work on. I'm going to break it into internal challenges and external challenges. I'm not going to talk much about external challenges because most of that was brought up in Mike's discussion about creating mobility and Pro 6 and some of that, but I'll just briefly touch on it. So most of this is going to be discussions about how we operate internally and the challenges that we have. We're going to finalize a human resource policy review, and essentially that review is being undertaken to make the policy clear and accurate, and make it fair and beneficial to the staff and to the college itself. And yeah, our goal is to have that done. Originally, we were talking sometime in the summer and that kind of stuff. So the next thing that I'd like to really improve is communication back to the membership. Over the last couple of years, we've got away from having the Fortec newsletter go out. We've tried having messages set up on our website and using a blog, and we've all kind of, you know, say lack of a better word, laxed on doing that. So that's one thing I'm going to be pressing for the council members to be doing on a quarterly basis, is doing some sort of Fortec blog about what's going on in their area and that kind of stuff, even if it's just a few sentences and that. And I'm also going to, you know, encourage the registrar to blog some stuff also. So I encourage you as members to be reading that stuff, because that's how you're going to get notified of what's going on with the college. The other thing that I'm going to continue to do and push, and I think we do a fairly good job of that already, and I think some people may say that we do too much of it, but messages from the college, email messages and that. We get quite a few that come from the office, which is either Chanel or Myra that are doing it, and that, but I think there's going to be more that will come from me also, and maybe some of the other executive members as we're going forward. So it'll be little updates or call for volunteers to sit on committees or task force and that kind of stuff. So we're going to look at revamping the business plan and strategic plan, or sorry, the business and strategic plans. Essentially, just update them and make them current for this next operating year. We have some financial challenges, as you heard with the bylaw and the talk and that. We are trying to be proactive by increasing the dues, but we were expecting to have a deficit in 2013. We have struck a committee to look at alternate funding avenues, such as grants and subsidies and that, and Jared Whitbread is taking care of that. So I shouldn't say committee, that's a task force. We're also going to look at ways of increasing some money coming to the college, either through advertising on the website and some sponsorship and that. Okay. We're going to continue to work on trying to improve the online management system so that it provides a better product back to us as members, and thusly provides a better service to the public, to the industry, and I guess also to our staff so that they can use it. We've just went through and had a 2-day planning session back in February and March about what we wanted to get adjusted on the website and the online management system. And Chris Jolly and Janelle are working on trying to implement those. I just tested, or did finished doing the alpha testing on the new competency entry program. It's going to be rolled out to the competency committee probably in the next month or so to do the beta testing, and then it'll be rolled out to us. It's much easier, user-friendly, and that. But of course, there's always going to be little tweaks and things like that that we have to do, and you know, you can't test everything. So, oops, sorry. So we're also going to go through and do a review and development of some internal policies and guidelines. One thing that we noticed when we went through the transition of registrars and that is that we had a lot of difficulty finding our internal policies and what was the latest copy and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to make sure that they're documented, that they're in some sort of library, and that they have clear practices. Just to give you an idea of one that we worked on recently, we've taken the non-practicing member category and we've added a few policies to that to handle what it means to be non-practicing, and one of those is alumni and that kind of stuff. So we've essentially come up with an alumni membership category in that. So, Farrah talked on the professional exam, the need to revamp it and going from a proctored exam to something that can be served throughout the year. So that's going to be something that's kind of high on our list. Registrations and membership levels. This is the first year, as by Mike's presentation, that we flattened out. And if you actually look at it, if we didn't have the students and the associate members in the graph that Mike presented up here versus what's in our document, we actually had a downturn. And that's the first time we've ever experienced that. So how do we react to that? Well, a few things. We've got to start getting the student members that come out of NATE to become regulated members. I think there's only a few from last year's class that have actually approached the college to get off the student membership. So, we got to take care of that. So you as members out there, you have to be, if you have students that graduated last year or a couple of years ago, you should be checking to see if they are actually members of the college. Another thing is moving the current associate members that we have on the register to full membership. So that's getting them through the core competency program and working with them and providing mentorship and all those sort of things. Another thing that we're looking at is how we adjusted or changed the bylaw to handle non-classically forestry trained individuals to get them into college as associate members. I must say, one great thing that's actually come out of, I should just take a step back to the NATE students and that. This year we almost had 100% of the NATE students sign up to be student members. So Jared did an excellent job with that, and I know it will continue and that kind of stuff. So I just actually wanted to, since I'm talking about NATE and that and U of A, or NATE, I'm just going to give you some numbers that I just recently heard and know of. From the U of A, 7 people graduated this year, or are expected to graduate this year from the program. This year they had 45 people in the program. That's for 4 years. So they had about 11 people each year. At the height of it, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, there was 100 people going through that program in a year, and that, so. Okay? For NATE, they have about 20 students graduating this year out of 27 that started 2 years ago. Pretty decent, but their quota back then was 35. Next year they have about 25 out of 30 that are moving from first year to second year. And that's pretty decent, not as much of a downfall as the year before. The good news though is already they've accepted 37 applicants for the course. The quota this year was actually dropped to 30. So they've actually already got 37 applicants or registrations, and That's out of 67. And so if you compare it to a couple of years ago, there was, last year there was 48 positions, or 48 applicants for the 30 positions in that. So that's pretty good news. And the interesting thing about it is that they can take up to 40. So they're going to be above their quota. This is the first time that has happened since the mid-90s. The other thing that's very good about this is, for the longest time, Nate's been running at a ratio of about Nate Force Technology has been running at a ratio of about 1.1 to 1.3, and that's of applicants versus what's available for quota. They're getting close to 2, and they probably will meet the 2 here in the next couple months. That's the first time that's happened since the mid-90s also. So is this, great news moving forward? Is this a little blip? We're not too sure. But, it is some good news. We're going to maybe have some more bodies coming out of Nate in the near future. Okay, I was also having a discussion recently with somebody who was involved in a labor study, and his portion of the labor study was based off of forestry. And he kind of let me know that, I'm not sure if it's over the next 2 years or next 5 years, what it is, but there's going to be 200 new jobs in Western Canada each year in what they call the forestry support, or the forest industry support sector. And that's us. How the study looked at it, they looked at forest industry as the people making the paper, making the pulp, so sawing the logs and that kind of stuff. So it was, or not sawing the logs, but sawing the lumber. So that's what they were calling forest industry. So the support of the forest industry was us, the people that are out there in the bush and doing that. So that's 200 jobs a year in Western Canada. We all know, we've all heard that there's hardly anybody coming out of school. So how is that going to affect what we do and what the job market's out there? The other thing about that is that doesn't include the vacancies that we already have. I know SRD has north of 100 current positions that are vacant. We've all heard that we're coming up on the retirement bubble. We've got more people starting to retire. We've got people that are going to different sectors, natural resource sectors from our sector and that. So, who knows, maybe it's going to be 300 jobs a year, 400 jobs a year, but that's a heck of a lot of people that are going to be out there that are going to be working in what traditionally was our industry before. This next point, I was hoping I wasn't going to have to talk too much about it. Volunteers, I'm really happy that people, volunteered for some of the committees. I think that's great. We will be looking for more volunteers to sit on task force and that kind of stuff. And of course, we're going to be looking for the biggest or the largest volunteer is going to be the vice president. It's a great our opportunity to network. It's also a great opportunity to get mentored. I've learned a lot over the years that I've been involved with college, and I've definitely learned a lot over the last year from Butch and Mike and everybody else that I've been dealing with. Kevin had talked about those people that kind of sit on their hands and, I can't remember how he exactly put it, but, the people that, complain about this and that and say we should do that and this, but, essentially sit on their hands. I was one of those people. And, one day I had a talk with Al Fisher after an AGM, and he was just coming in as a competency director, and he said, get involved. And I was like, okay, and honestly, it's very rewarding. It's one of the best decisions I ever made. That's so. Okay, so, and then the last topic internally that I want to talk about is members' responsibility. And I'm just going to touch this on 2 areas, on the competency, the continuing competency program and the payment of dues. And how Kevin was talking about that he was so impressed that he had 1,000 out of 6,000 people attending the Olds Grizzly games. 1/6 of the people, he said that was so impressive. Well, here, I'll give you a number. We had over 120 members that had not paid their dues by January 1. 1/6 of a member. Do you think that's very impressive? No, I think that's dismal. That's something that we got to improve. Your dues are supposed to be paid by November 30th. And that's why we had the late fee and we have reinstatement fees and that, you know. If we don't get those dues paid, essentially it's up to Chanel and Myra and other people that are volunteering to track it down and get paid. That's a huge tax on the amount of time that's available. You know? If we were a credit card company, you get charged interest. You know, if you're a bank, you get default notices and that. You know, it's the dues and that, and it's also the dues that the college needs to operate. Okay, so 1/6 of our membership did not pay their dues on time. Right now, we still have 20 members of that over 120 that have not paid. They're going to be getting, or they've had suspension notices, and we've not heard back from them, so they're going to end up getting suspended, and then after that, it's going to follow through on our bylaws and how we handle that. Of the composite committee, we had about 50 to 60 people that did not have the minimal required hours. That's down from previous years. That's good. I'm glad to see that. It's a trend that we've seen in going down. Just, you know, get the message out there, continue to do that job, and hopefully eventually we'll get down to having 10 or 15 people. And that, so, okay? So externally, a few of the things we're going to work on. I'm just going to be brief. We're going to talk about Pro 6 and be involved in that. You know, we're going to keep our ears to the ground on the Northwest Partnership and be involved in that. We're going to continue to have talks with CAPFT and strengthen that relationship. I hope and encourage everybody to get involved with NATE where they can, either by talking up, you know, the NATE Force Technology program, getting involved as a mentor for students coming out of the program and into the FIT program, being president NATE for work symposiums or job symposiums and that kind of stuff. Just, you know, the more that we're there and they know about CAPFT and they know about the profession and that kind of stuff, the better it's going to be for us. But on the other side of it, you know, the more that we get out.
Jared Whitbread, and Jared couldn't make it here today, but he was our NATE rep, and he'll be obviously coming back onto council now as our hearings director. So, Derek Fisher. Past and now incumbent finance director. Next two guys, I'm not sure who they are. It says Mike Vicente and Pat Gala.
Yeah.
We're going to be around for a while, so we'll pass on that one for now. But we do have one more very important one, and Butch Shenfield, our past president. And I must say, it's been a real pleasure working with Butch again. I've had the pleasure of working with him on a professional basis while I was with the Forest Service, and it's been a real pleasure working with him over the last few years on CAPFT Council. Butch put a lot of love and passion into the organization. He's a great person to have on council to build relationships with others, whether that be with government, with our lawyer, or with with our colleagues in CAPF. Butch has done a phenomenal job over his term here, and recognition is very well earned, Butch. So, hate to see you go, but you'll be back, eh? Outgoing committee members, both from the Competence Committee, Mark Froller and Jeff Scammell.
before. How long have you been on the committee? It's been 4 years now.
Only 3 years.
Okay, I just wanted to actually thank those individuals that we just recognized in that. Over the last year, sitting as vice president on the council, I've learned a lot from Butch. You know, Butch is a very soft-spoken man, but I tell you, he carries a lot of clout and that kind of stuff. And it's when he speaks, you actually, you know, he's a guy you should listen to and that kind of stuff. And I learned a lot from him. Same with the other outgoing members in that. I'm glad to have some of you back, and you know, the other ones that aren't coming back, well, we'll see you around in the future and that kind of stuff, and I'm sure you'll be successful in whatever you do. As for the outgoing competency committee members, honestly, I sat on that committee for a couple of years, and I was the competency director. That committee is the hardest work, or it's the only committee that we have right now, but they are a hard-working committee. They do a lot of stuff, and they're dedicated. And that should be a model of how all of our other committees run. So that's, Tyler's doing a great job leading it, but guys like Mark and Jeff and Linda Bransky and Chantel and forgetting one person. Oh, Wally, thank you. Sorry. They make that committee, and it's a hard-working committee. So I'd like to thank them. So.
Next award we'd like to present is the Forest Technologist of the Year Award. I'd first like to say we had some very good nominations this year, and it was a difficult choice because we had some really good candidates. Council decided to present the award to Barry McAnally. Sorry. It's the Italian stuff comes out. We just can't pronounce those kind of vowels. I'm going to have Jed pop up here as one of the nominators and explain why the nomination was done. There was multiple nominators for Barry, and I would like to say first off too is that the reason council decided to go with the nomination for Barry in terms of acceptance of the Technologist of the Year is that he's acting and living and practicing and promoting the college on a day-to-day basis as a sponsor in his professional activities at work, the way he communicates. It's just all favorable towards the college, promotes the college, and does it as a course of his day-to-day work. So with that, I'd just like to turn it over to Jed here now to cover off some of the content of the nomination, and then we'll do the award presentation.
Hey, yeah, my thanks for council for letting me present my nomination here. I think we brought this award back about 3 years ago, and I actually, first time we were talking about the criteria and everything, Barry had popped into my head, and I'll give you the reasons why. But I think you heard everyone this morning talk to us about the importance of receiving the new forest technologists into our ranks, and encouraging active participation in the college. I think this is one of the most important things that we in our day-to-day jobs can do, because obviously they're going to be the future of forest management in Alberta. So, hey, no one does it more than Barry. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my nomination so I don't miss any of the important points that I wanted to convey to you guys. So, I would like to nominate Barry McAnally for the award. He's been working with Sundry Forest Products for 20 plus years. I think it's 23, eh, Barry? In those years, he's held a number of different positions, but will definitely be most recognized as his role as the area silviculturalist for the past, I'd say, 15 years or so. Very knowledgeable in his job. A big part of our silviculture program is the summer student positions that we have every year, and the term positions. We have an 8-month position, a 12-month position. With the right training, these people can play key roles in the completion of our summer work and gain really valuable experience, that'll bring them forward in their career, and, they'll just use that information to their best, and it'll get them a long ways. No member on our staff is more passionate about training these people. Over the past 15 years, his experience and his unique teaching ability has enabled many summer staff, including myself, I mentored under Barry, to have a very safe and enjoyable educational experience with our Woodlands group. Having been trained by Barry during my first forestry years and watching others get the same mentorship, I feel he does the college a valuable service through his influence on the numerous young forestry practitioners, and fits the criteria for this award through instilling individuals that he trains with an appreciation for the important role that CAPFT plays in his career and will play in theirs, insisting that all the work that we do as a group is carried out with professionalism and integrity, encouraging and actually insisting that we're registered, people working with him are registered and are participating actively in the college, and eagerly participating in the kind of the new forest technologists and training program that we're all kind of feeling out. He's actively doing it right now with another individual that's worked in our office, and I've never seen someone take to it. He's just very passionate about it. So I feel very lucky to have been trained by Barry, and more fortunate still to be working alongside him. So thank you for considering this nomination.
Thanks, Jed. So Barry, if you want to pop up here, and we'd like to present your award and a little token of our appreciation for you.
I just want to thank everybody for this. I want to thank the people that took the time to make the nomination, because they definitely went out of their way and puts particular value in this for me. I'm not going to keep it for very long, but a couple things. The other one too, which I've heard a lot of things that I have to say. I've heard it already today, so that's really must be a theme in today's presentations and such. The one thing I haven't heard in general is one role that's I think cool, and one thing that I'm proud of too is really just to be part of this forestry family. I spend a lot of my personal time and a lot of my professional time in forestry and in amongst people like this. So all the people that I went to school with are some of my best buddies from way back when. So that's another thing that's great. The other thing I've heard is just having passion for your profession, and having a passion for loving forests and loving trees, and if that's what it is, then sign me up. And I'll just leave you with a couple points. And you've probably heard them all before, and I can't claim any of them to be mine. But first, forests are dynamic. Forests are a renewable resource. Forestry feeds my family. Never stop learning. Smile. And finally, the civiculture part of me wants to say, when you plant a tree, put the brown side down. Thanks.
Yeah, so congratulations, very well deserved. The next award is the Professional Examination Achievement Award, and the recipient is Jeff Hunter.
So I'd like to thank all the people that donated door prizes, and the sponsors of the event, and the people that worked so hard to put it on, and the attendees, and I guess I'll turn it over to Mike.
Yeah, so just to wrap it up, definitely like to thank Chanel and Myra, our staff, for putting on a great event here over the last 2 days. They put a lot of effort into it, so thank you, ladies. And I'd like to thank Mike Dempsey for being our Sergeant at Arms. And I'd like to thank our public members, Honey and Edgar, for the assistance and support they gave us this evening. So the last thing I'm going to say to you guys is have a great rest of the day. Drive home safe if you're traveling. Have a great weekend. And I'd like to call, I got one more business thing. Put your name tags or just leave your name tags on the front entrance there so we can reuse those. And I'd like to call for a motion for adjournment.